Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to your show E-Coffee with Experts. This is your host Ranmay here. And today we have Kristina, who is the Director of Operations at Digitally Savvy with us. Hey, Kristina.
Hi, Ranmay. Thank you for having me.
Lovely. Kristina, before we move any forward, let's go get to know the human behind the mic. Why don't you talk us through your journey so far? How did you land up in the digital marketing SEO place? And then we'll take it forward from there on.
I've actually came from a content creation background. I used to work for a company called A to Z Forex back in 2014, if not longer than that. I used to create news for Forex market, everything related to financial markets and cryptocurrency. So that was my background. And then when I moved to Canada, I was hired by Vlad Raskanu. Shout out to him. This is the best boss ever, the guru of
Mhm.
SEO who taught me everything. He took me on as a first employee of Digitally Savvy, and that's how my SEO journey started. I learned everything from him, worked on a couple
Mhm.
clients, and I would say 5 years fast forward. Now I'm leading up the agency, and we work on a number of businesses and helping them grow as well.
Lovely, lovely. Quite a journey, I must say. Because home services and construction, the kind of space that digitally savvy specialize in, are really competitive industries online. So, what are the unique challenges do these businesses face in attracting leads compared to other sectors, so to say?
So it's a bit of a unique situation, I would say, for both of these industries. For home services, obviously, the locality is the main focus for us because when you do SEO for any other industry that is not local specific, I would not say it's necessarily easier, but you don't need to think about different local specific techniques and strategies,
Yeah.
like, for example, GBP or GMB, how it used to be before. And other things related to how people would search for services in their areas. Whenever we approach the strategies for home services businesses in any of the markets, we typically try to analyze what is in the market. Also, the seasonality plays a lot of importance in there. So, for example, right now there is a shoulder season. We're going into the hot season in a lot of US, and that means HVAC is booming, and
Yeah.
we actually switch our focus away because
Yeah.
HVAC doesn't need any more advertising. So we're moving towards perhaps advertising or boosting some other parts of their business, let's say water softeners, if they also provide plumbing and things like that. So it's adjusting based on the locality and the services. But when
Mhm.
it comes to construction SaaS and any SaaS business, this is definitely a little bit more, I would say, don't want to say complicated, but it does require a little bit more thinking and structuring
Yeah.
because typically these businesses, they have a very niche offering. So for example, it can be a very kind of broad construction project management software, or it can be very specific like construction accounting software. So this is where we have to really study their offering, really study their
Mhm.
product, and try to almost reverse engineer what their lead base would look for. Because
Right.
sometimes, a lot of times, the decision makers, they don't even know what they need to look for. So that's how we're helping them to actually have the keyword research nailed down and create those pages for those keywords.
Absolutely. And mention about GBP, profiles are really crucial for local businesses. What are some of the advanced optimization techniques you would recommend going beyond the basics for GBP profiles?
Actually, it's interesting that you ask it right now because we've been really going deep into GBP lately, considering that ranking organically for local businesses is a good thing. But at the end of the day, if somebody is looking for AC repair in Phoenix, the first thing they're going to see is a local pack. So this is where we
Right.
want our businesses to show up. So we've been really going deep into not just optimization of the GBP profile is something the basic that we do, but then we approach it from three different fronts. Our GBP strategy. We work on a profile, obviously, making sure it's completed, optimized, making sure that we have all the services posted there. Obviously, the weekly posts where we either put our clients' offerings or just some news about what's going on their side of the business. And then uploading pictures on the website, on the GBP profile helps a lot, helps it
Right.
to
The real
be
pictures.
fresh.
Yeah.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
also builds credibility, right? So you can see the
Absolutely.
technicians actually performing the job. So that
Mhm.
helps people feel safer for people that come to their home to perform that service. Now, another big part of it is the work on the website itself. Aside from the GBB profile, we'll also work on the website a lot. So what we found is that the correlation between what is on your website and the GBP profile should match exactly. We should have the same name, the contact information should
Yeah.
match. It would be ideal to have a map on your website as well. Displaying your work is what helps a lot. And obviously, creating pages for service areas, creating pages for
Mhm.
services that you provide with a local copy, mentioning the city, mentioning the brand name, and just showing up and showing off your work. And then lastly, it would be completely off the website and off the GBP profile. We work a
Right.
lot on building signals back to our clients' websites and the GBP profile with the help of citations. So making sure that
Right.
our business is present on all the possible necessary directories, data aggregators, everything that would help Google to understand that we are actually providing a certain service in a certain area. So it's a holistic approach, I would say, to local SEO.
Absolutely. Uniformity of NAP at different platforms again gives more credibility to your business, like you mentioned, right? You know, talking about local SEO for companies with multiple locations, right? Managing GBP listings effectively, can be really daunting. So, what
Mhm.
strategies would you recommend for streamlining this process and ensuring consistency?
Yeah, it is definitely challenging. What we found works the best for us. I don't know how businesses would manage it
Hmm.
on themselves, but as an agency, we found it the best to take advantage of certain tools that
Hmm.
help to have it as a certain, like a hub that has all the locations logged in there. We can automate postings, we can automate certain geogrids running and keeping an eye on trends, how competitors are performing, things like that allows us to keep an eye how consistent the citations are as well. So one of the tools that we utilize a lot is Local Falcon, Bright Local as well. A
Right.
lot of
Local,
these
yeah.
tools help us to understand how our GMB is performing. So it definitely is possible without the tools, but I would say it makes our lives easier.
Absolutely. And content, like we know, plays a major role in local SEO as well, like it does in other aspects of SEO. How can companies create locally relevant content that attracts leads and also boosts search ranking at the same time? How do you guys go about doing it?
Yeah, first and foremost, we talk with the client. We make sure to understand what is the high level ticket services for them, what it is that they
Hmm.
want to go after. For example, if it's AC repair or if it's drain cleaning, anything related, and that will bring them the biggest margin. This is what we're going after. And then obviously doing the keyword research. Based on that, we would create either a service area page or a service page itself, maybe also mentioning the service area. And within that page, some of the crucial elements that we want to be covering is the headings. We want to make sure in all the headings we mention the city name, we mention the service type, and also the brand name. So Google can associate all of these three and tie it together. And then
Right.
obviously creating as many pages as needed for this. And then the link building. Nobody
Yeah.
canceled link building. It definitely helps us a lot with that. And what we've started doing a lot is not just simple link building, but very high high quality local backlinks. And
Hmm.
those are coming from some local directories like Chamber of Commerce or local organizations, maybe local charities or
Hmm.
schools or businesses that are willing to link back to our clients. These are really helpful. They might not be as authoritative as some other ones, but having that locality element in them helps a lot.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. And then moving on from a local SEO perspective, in fact, local businesses, online reviews plays a very important role. So, what is your take on that? And how do you guys approach online review system at Digitally Savvy for your clients?
Reviews, definitely. I would say this is one of the biggest factors when it comes to ranking on
Right.
GBP. And majority of the clients that we work with, they utilize certain tools that help them attract reviews. Now, this can be Podium, Service Titan, any of the tools that automate. So whenever the technician comes out to perform a certain service, then once the service is performed, the automatic message is sent out with the request for review. And it's fresh because the person just left your house. So as soon
Right.
as you get that message, you're feeling almost obliged to leave that review. And that helps to build the review base a lot. So we always work with clients to help them set that up on their websites. And then another big part of it is not just getting good reviews, but also replying to them as
Yeah.
soon as possible. So we handle that for our clients as well. And
Mhm.
thanks to the service statement, so we are able to actually understand what kind of service was performed on a certain for a certain client. So we are able to then refer to that service in our reply, thus naturally mentioning that keyword in our reply. That also definitely helps a lot because typically Google highlights those replies if it matches the search intent of a particular
Right.
searcher. That helps to show up for really highly relevant keywords.
Yeah, and at the same time, it is also important to respond to not so great reviews so that no business is perfect, right? If you get a 5 star or
True.
5 ratings, the customer still can doubt of the business manipulating reviews. So anything within a 4.2 to 4.3 to from a, let's say, till a 4.7, 4.8-ish looks more realistic versus all 5 stars. If
Yeah.
you have had a bad experience and then let's say the business kind of responds and fix it up, then for me, the as a customer, it then gives me some confidence that while no business is perfect, even if they kind of mess it up, then they fix it as well. I We have had experiences wherein we respond to reviews which are not so great, and after fixing it up, then we ask the same clients to share their experiences in terms of how was the issue handled. So this again has worked. Again, depends from business to business, location to location. But this is something that we also do as a
Yeah.
practice,
Yeah,
right?
100%. Important to address negative reviews because then also people, whenever they land upon your listing, if they see that negative reviews are not being answered, that means the company doesn't really
Yeah,
care about their
right.
customers. So we want to make sure to address this 100%.
Absolutely, absolutely. And lastly, Christina, we have a lot of AI automation and all that stuff going around in our space and overall at an industry level. So, how do you see AI and automation impacting local SEO in particular in the coming years? And how do you feel can businesses leverage the marketing automation and the local SEO space?
So just piggybacking off of the last question, review replies. This is something I've seen being automated with ServiceNet, and
Yeah.
they have a function to automate review replies. I don't particularly like it because
Yeah.
AI is not perfect, can make mistakes. So I always like to
And
make sure that
it is repetitive. It is not
exactly,
customized to answer the exact customer's concern.
exactly. It sounds a bit robotic because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
it
it
is a
is.
robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's reviews. It's something. There's definitely a lot of automation. There's so many different programs that are going on, and obviously, a lot of them are kind of helping us in some way. But I don't first they taking over the jobs when it comes to local SEO. Definitely, human touch always needs to be here. Perhaps when it comes to copy creation, this is where we utilize AI a lot, be it copy creation or just pulling up some content briefs and analyzing how optimized a certain page for local SEO is. This is really helpful. But when it comes to actually putting out the content to go live, it always passes a human eye. And at least in our
Yeah.
agency, we always have somebody to look it over to make sure that nobody's taking over the world with that copy. So it's interesting. It's kind of it's also sad in one way because it takes away the job from the content writers. And
Mhm.
it's good for the agencies because we were able to cut our expenses a lot by relying on AI. But it's definitely nowhere close to be as perfect as a human can write.
Absolutely, 100%. Can't agree with you more there. Great, Christina. And before we wrap this up, you have clearly gone up the ladder. You started with content, now you are heading the ops. Have your journey is quite an inspiration in itself. So, what is that piece of advice that you want to give our audiences today who are trying to make a mark in the digital marketing space, who are starting out?
I would say it might be a bit counterintuitive, but I feel like learning on mistakes, like not being afraid to make mistakes and always experimenting, is something that's how I was taught. And I felt like getting your hands dirty as soon as possible with a client or an account or a certain task is what's going to teach you a lot, because having a theory, having a really savvy theoretical background is great, but as long as you're not putting that knowledge to actual practice, it's tough to succeed. So I think not being afraid to make mistakes, because at the very beginning of my journey, I wasn't say I was very afraid to make mistakes, but it was definitely because it was my first job in Canada and I was
Mhm.
very about it. So I was really stressed when I was making mistakes. Right now, I make mistakes on a daily basis, and this is how I grow and this is how I learn. So definitely making mistakes.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Christina, for that piece of advice and the valuable insights you shared today. And once again, thank you so much for taking out time to do this with us. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Remy.